Imagine this. You wake up in a room with no windows, no doors, and no memory of how you got there. The walls stretch into an infinite darkness, swallowing every sound you make. There is only one object in the entire room, a locked box sitting on the floor. It is old, weathered, covered in cryptic symbols that seem to shift under your gaze. A whisper, no, a thought, enters your mind. Inside the box is the truth, the answer to everything. Your heartbeat quickens, your hands tremble. You should open it, shouldn't you? But something deep within resists. Your fingers freeze just inches away. A sickening doubt slithers into your gut. What if the truth isn't what you hoped for? What if it breaks you? What if it is something beyond comprehension, something your mind cannot unsee? And so you hesitate, staring at the box. Seconds stretch into eternity. The fear tightens around your throat like an invisible hand. This is the paradox of the unknown. We crave understanding, yet we flinch when faced with the unfamiliar. We are drawn to the forbidden, yet we fear what lurks beyond the veil. The unknown is both a promise and a threat, a gateway to enlightenment or madness. But why? Why does the mere absence of knowledge provoke such terror? A child is not born fearing the dark. It learns to fear it. Civilization itself is built on conquest over the unknown, mapping uncharted lands, deciphering ancient mysteries, unraveling the laws of the cosmos. And yet, even with all our progress, the terror of what we do not know lingers like an ancestral ghost. Consider this. If fear is meant to protect us from danger, then what exactly is so dangerous about something that has not yet revealed itself? Why does the unknown, in its very formlessness, have the power to paralyze the human spirit? Perhaps it is because the unknown holds up a mirror to the most unsettling truth of all. We are not in control. We pretend we are. We measure, categorize, and label everything in sight, reducing infinity into digestible pieces. We wrap ourselves in illusions of certainty, routines, rules, beliefs, identities. But reality is not bound by our understanding. The universe is vast, indifferent, and chaotic. Time erases civilizations. Death comes without warning. The ground beneath our feet is only solid because we choose not to think about the abyss beneath it. And so we build walls. We cling to the familiar, the explainable, the well-lit pathways of existence. Anything beyond those walls becomes the other. Anything without a name becomes a monster. But here's the great contradiction. What if the unknown is not the enemy? What if fear itself is the cage? What if the very thing we avoid, the thing we dread, holds the key to something greater than fear? You are still in the room. The box is still in front of you, and you are still hesitating. But what if, just for a moment, you reached out? What if you dared to open it? You are still staring at the box. The weight of possibility presses down on you. A part of you wants to open it, but another part recoils, as if some ancient instinct is warning you away. Where does this fear come from? Why is it so deeply woven into the fabric of your mind? To understand this, we must venture into the labyrinth of the human psyche. For our ancestors, the unknown was not a philosophical puzzle. It was a matter of life and death. The rustling in the bushes could be the wind, or a predator lying in wait. The cave ahead might offer shelter, or be home to something that hunts in the dark. Those who hesitated, those who feared, survived. The brain, shaped by millions of years of survival, learned a simple lesson. When faced with uncertainty, assume the worst. This is why you flinch at sudden noises in the dark. Why the shadow in the corner of your eye feels almost like a figure watching you. Why, even today, the unknown triggers a primal response, activating the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear. Your ancestors who explored the unknown without caution, most of them didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. But those who feared wisely, they survived, they thrived, and their caution was passed down, encoded in your very DNA. But fear of the unknown is not just about external dangers. The greatest unknown you will ever face is yourself. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, spoke of the shadow, the hidden aspects of the psyche that we refuse to acknowledge. We like to think of ourselves as rational, moral, and in control, but buried deep within us are instincts, desires, and fears we dare not confront. The unknown is terrifying, not because it threatens us from the outside, but because it threatens to reveal what we have kept hidden on the inside. What if you are not who you think you are? What if your carefully crafted identity is nothing more than a fragile illusion? What if, behind the mask of civilization, something wild, something ancient, something untamed still lurks within you? This is why the unknown feels dangerous. It forces us to question ourselves. And to question oneself is to risk collapse, to risk the shattering of everything we have built to protect our fragile sense of reality. But the fear of the unknown runs even deeper than the fear of losing control. It is tied to the most unsettling question of all: what if there is no meaning? Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who stared into the void, spoke of the terror that arises when we confront the possibility that life is without inherent purpose. Religion, morality, social structures, are they eternal truths? Or are they merely comforting stories we tell ourselves to avoid looking into the abyss? If you open the box, if you embrace the unknown, you might not find truth. You might find nothing at all. And that is the most terrifying revelation of all. We like to think we are free, but in reality, we are bound by invisible chains, chains made of certainty, routine, and the refusal to question. Society teaches us to fear the unknown because the unknown is dangerous. It threatens stability. It leads to rebellion. It breeds new ideas, and new ideas disrupt order. Think about it. Children ask why until they are taught to stop. Scientists who push the boundaries of knowledge are often ridiculed before they are celebrated. Visionaries who challenge dogma are persecuted before they are understood. The unknown is where revolutions are born. And yet, most people will spend their entire lives avoiding it. They will stay in jobs they hate, relationships that suffocate them, belief systems they never questioned, not because they love these things, but because the alternative is terrifying. The alternative is stepping into a world without a map, and so they remain in their self-made prisons. But what if the prison was never locked? What if you have been holding the key all along? You are still in the room. The box is still in front of you. The symbols shift as if waiting for your touch. But something has changed. Now you are starting to wonder, what if the fear isn't a warning? What if it is an invitation? The box remains closed. You tell yourself it's safer this way, that as long as you don't open it, you remain in control. But is that really true? Or is something else controlling you? Fear of the unknown does not merely exist in our minds. It dictates how we live, shaping our choices in ways we rarely notice. It whispers to us when we hesitate before making a bold decision. It lurks behind our excuses when we convince ourselves to stay in situations that no longer serve us. Consider this. How many times in your life have you chosen the familiar suffering over the uncertain possibility? The job you despise but won't leave because you don't know if a better one awaits. The relationship that drains you, yet you stay because being alone is an unfamiliar territory. The dream you never pursue because failure is an unknown you'd rather not risk. In each of these cases, it is not logic that holds you back. It is fear. The mind would rather endure what it already understands than face the possibility of something worse. But here's the catch. By avoiding the unknown, you also avoid what could be better. The unknown holds both danger and possibility. It is the realm of not only failure, but also transformation. It is where every great invention, every groundbreaking idea, every life-changing realization is born. And yet, most people would rather stay within the boundaries of what they already know, even if it means suffering. The collective consequences, how societies enforce the fear. This fear does not only shape individuals, it shapes entire civilizations. From the moment you are born, you are conditioned to fear the unknown. You are given rules, beliefs, structures, things designed to make the world feel predictable, safe, certain. But certainty is an illusion. Religion and dogma. Many religious institutions thrive on the fear of the unknown. They offer absolute answers, promising that the mysteries of existence have already been solved. To question is to sin. To doubt is to invite chaos. But isn't true faith built on mystery? If all is already known, then where is the need for seeking, for wondering, for discovering? Education and conformity. Schools do not teach you how to think, they teach you what to think. You are rewarded for regurgitating established facts, not for exploring new possibilities. original thought is risky. The unknown is dangerous. Stick to the curriculum. Stay inside the lines. Politics and control. Governments thrive on fear. When people fear the unknown, they seek stability, even at the cost of their freedom. Fearful citizens are easier to control. They do not question authority. They do not challenge the status quo. They accept limitations because the alternative, an uncertain, chaotic world, is far more terrifying. And so, the world is built on a lie that staying within the boundaries of what we know will keep us safe. But what if that is the true danger? Imagine a man who spends his entire life afraid of the sea. He lives by the shore but never sails. He tells himself he is safe, that the ocean is unpredictable, that the waves are treacherous, that it is better to stay on land. One day, he dies, and as his soul rises above the earth, he sees the ocean in its full vastness. He sees the islands he never visited, the adventures he never had, the wonders he never witnessed. He realizes then, too late, that the unknown was never the enemy. The enemy was the fear that kept him from living. How many people die with their dreams still locked inside them? How many civilizations collapse because they refuse to embrace change? We fear the unknown as if it is a threat to our survival. But in reality, it is our resistance to the unknown that keeps us small, trapped, half alive. And here is the cruelest irony. The unknown is coming whether you fear it or not. The future is unknown. Death is unknown. The next moment is unknown. No matter how much you try to control, predict, and define the world around you, you are always standing at the edge of uncertainty. So the real question is, will you let fear keep you trapped, or will you step forward? You are still in the room. The box is still in front of you. But something has changed. This time, you are not looking at it with fear. This time, you are starting to see it for what it truly is. Not a threat, not a prison, but an invitation. You place your hand on the box. For the first time, you are not recoiling. You are not resisting. There is no longer a force telling you to turn away, to step back, to pretend it does not exist. Something in you has shifted. But awareness is not enough. You still have to make a choice. You still have to open it. The first act of rebellion, facing the fear itself. Most people believe that courage is the absence of fear. This is a lie. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite it. The unknown will never stop being unknown. The future will never be certain. The mysteries of existence will never be fully solved. But you have a choice. You can either shrink away from the uncertainty, or you can step into it with your eyes wide open. Psychologists call this exposure therapy, the act of repeatedly facing a fear until the brain stops seeing it as a threat. Philosophers call it existential courage, the defiant act of staring into the abyss and choosing to walk forward anyway. Spiritual traditions call it enlightenment, the moment one transcends illusion and embraces the full, chaotic, infinite nature of reality. But at its core, it is the same principle. You do not overcome fear by avoiding it. You overcome it by choosing to meet it. The power of unlearning, breaking the chains of conditioning. Fear of the unknown is not an inherent part of human nature. It is taught. You were not born fearing change. You were not born craving certainty. You were conditioned to believe that the unknown is dangerous because a world controlled by fear is easier to manipulate. So the second step to breaking free is unlearning the fear that was placed inside you. Consider this radical thought. What if everything you have ever been taught about security, certainty, and control is a lie? What if there is no such thing as true stability, only the illusion of it? What if the things you were told to avoid were actually the very things that would set you free? What if your deepest fears were never your own, but something implanted in you to keep you small? The moment you begin questioning your conditioning is the moment you start to reclaim your own mind. And this is terrifying because it means stepping away from everything you once thought was true. But it is also liberating because it means you are no longer trapped by someone else's version of reality. The art of stepping into the unknown. Now, the real rebellion begins. The unknown is not a void. It is a space of infinite potential. It is the birthplace of every great invention, every transformative experience, every profound spiritual awakening. The ones who change the world are not those who cling to certainty. They are the ones who embrace the unknown and let it shape them. Look at history. Nikola Tesla, ridiculed for his ideas, cast aside as a madman, but he dared to venture beyond what was known. Galileo Galilei, told he was a heretic for suggesting the earth was not the center of the universe, but he refused to be bound by the false certainty of his time. Buddha abandoned his royal life because he realized that true understanding lay beyond the comforts of what he had always known. What do they all have in common? They chose to step into the unknown, knowing it would cost them everything familiar. And yet, in that choice, they found something greater than safety. They found truth. How you can break free, starting now. The final step is this: you must become an explorer of the unknown, not just in theory, not just in ideas, but in action. Here's how. 1, do something uncertain every day. Start small. Choose something uncomfortable, something unpredictable. Take a different route home. Talk to a stranger. Pick up a book you would normally ignore. Say yes to something before your fear convinces you to say no. The more you train yourself to embrace uncertainty, the more fearless you become. 2, question every truth you have been given. Ask yourself, who told me this? Challenge the narratives that keep you stuck, whether they come from society, family, or your own mind. If an idea keeps you trapped in fear, is it truly serving you? 3, reframe fear as a guide, not an enemy. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal. It tells you where your greatest transformations lie. Instead of asking, what if this goes wrong? Ask, what if this leads to something extraordinary? 4, let go of the need for control. Certainty is a cage. The more you cling to it, the smaller your world becomes. The most powerful people are not those who control the future. They are those who adapt to it. Embrace the chaos. Let life unfold. Trust that you are strong enough to face whatever comes. The final test. Will you open the box? You are back in the room. The box is still there. Your fear has not vanished. It is still whispering, still trying to pull you back into safety. But something is different now. You are no longer running. You take a deep breath. You place your hands on the lid, and this time, you open it. And what you find inside is nothing. Not a monster. Not an ancient hidden horror. Not even an answer. Just emptiness. It is the moment you realize something profound, something that shatters every illusion you have ever clung to. The unknown was never the threat. The fear itself was. The lie that kept you chained. For your entire life, you have been told a lie so convincing that it shaped the very way you see the world. You were taught that the unknown is dangerous, that uncertainty is something to be avoided, that the absence of control means chaos, suffering, and loss. But now, standing here, staring into this nothingness, you understand. The unknown was never your enemy. It was your greatest freedom. It was never darkness. It was the endless expanse of possibility waiting for you to step into it. The greatest tragedy is not that we fear the unknown. The greatest tragedy is that we allow this fear to dictate our lives. Look back at your past. How many choices did you avoid because they felt uncertain? How many dreams did you abandon because the path to them was unclear? How many times did you stay in the familiar, even when it was painful, because at least you knew what to expect? The fear of the unknown is the most insidious kind of prison, because it doesn't need walls. It doesn't need chains. It only needs your obedience. The illusion of control. The reason we fear the unknown is simple. We crave control. We want to believe that if we have all the answers, if we plan everything meticulously, if we never step into uncertainty, we will be safe. But here's the truth. You were never in control to begin with. You don't control the next moment. You don't control the thoughts of others. You don't control the tides, the weather, the turning of the universe. Every moment of your existence is already an act of surrender to the unknown. Every breath you take is a gamble, because you do not know what comes next. But what if, instead of fearing this, you embraced it? What if the very thing you've been running from is the thing that sets you free? The great reversal from fear to freedom. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. Most people look at it and feel overwhelmed. The depths are terrifying. The horizon is endless. They feel small, powerless, insignificant. But the ones who are truly free, the ones who understand, look at that ocean and smile. They see adventure, they see possibility, They see a world that cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled. And that is precisely what makes it beautiful. You have been taught to fear the unknown because you were never told what it truly is. It is not darkness. It is potential. It is not a threat. It is a blank canvas. It is not something to avoid. It is something to explore. The final, most powerful realization. Here is the ultimate truth, the realization that will change everything if you allow it to. The unknown is not outside of you. It is you. You are the unknown. You are not a fixed thing. You are not a final answer. You are not a perfectly defined entity with no room to change. You are mystery. You are transformation. You are something that can be different in the next moment. The only reason the unknown frightens you is because you have spent your life believing you must be something static, something predictable, something controlled. But what if you let that go? What if you stopped clinging to certainty and allowed yourself to be wild, untamed, ever changing? What if you stopped asking, what if I don't know what's next? And started asking, what if I get to create it? What if instead of fearing the unknown, you became it? The new path forward, the box is open. And instead of fear, you feel something you never expected, relief. Because now you see the truth. There was never a monster waiting in the unknown. The only thing that was ever waiting there was you. And now, finally, you are free to step forward. Hey guys, if you're loving this content, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Trust me, you don't want to be the last to know.